Hello, so I've been having this thought recently, and I was wanting to make a video about it last night, but it's kind of late, so I didn't. So yeah, here I am. It's the fact that reality is always changing, and perhaps not in the sense that many people might initially think about that statement. Because what do you think about when I say reality? Is it the objective outside world, the things that are actually happening? Is it the things that are created within inside your brain? Because I don't think there's any possible way of us experiencing objective reality. I think the way we experience reality is through the lens of our mind, and that's what shapes the world around us. That's our perception, technically. Our perception is everything. And I know I've said this in videos before, but it's very true. Because sometimes your environment it may stay pretty stable, pretty similar to how it usually is, but you go through changes within that time. Like, because my bedroom doesn't change much, but the thing that does change is my perception of it, and what shapes that is my mood, and what shapes my mood is my perception of the world. It's all like interconnected process of things. Like, because outside events can govern our internal condition and the way we do perceive the world. Like, if we're constantly surrounded by bad things which are happening in the world, then we're probably going to adopt quite a negative view on those things. But if we're able to, like, perhaps follow a Buddhist philosophy and detach ourselves from these negative things which go on in the world, and just they're just things that happen, just as the things that we call good and the things that we call bad, they're all just things that happen, neutral events which are just being thrown at us or we're just experiencing. Then I think that's a beautiful thing. But obviously, in Western culture, it's kind of hard for us to reach that level of acceptance for the things that are happening, and not to judge things negatively or positively, because we're in a society which revolves around judgment and revolves around diversity and change and all this stuff and all these concepts. That's what our society is based upon. I mean, look at the media. We have good things that happen, and we have bad things that happen. For example, a person dying is bad, or a person being killed is bad, but perhaps someone doing a good deed is good. But how, yeah, it's so confusing because, like, good and bad are social constructs. Like, well, if you take a feral child, and it won't be able to decipher between what's morally right and morally wrong, because it's never been taught that. Unless, of course, we do have this innate ability to feel empathy, and then we're able to perhaps feel when we shouldn't do something or when we should do something. But that doesn't necessarily mean that things that we do are good or bad, because they're still just labels we attach to it. So yeah, but I'll go back to the thing about reality changing. Like, is reality really changing all that much, or is it just you changing your mind? Are you just changing the way you're thinking, or changing the way you're perceiving things? Because we're constantly going through things in life, and we're constantly changing our perception on things, and often the thing itself isn't actually changing. Like, you can go do something and at one moment enjoy it, and then try and do it another time and you're absolutely hating it. So what is it? Do you like this thing or do you hate this thing? It's all transient, isn't it? It's got nothing to do with the thing itself, perhaps, but it's got to do with the connections you have in your mind, and yeah, the way your mind's interpreting this thing, this event, this happening. That's everything, isn't it? Life's like a very strange journey, isn't it? It's like, it's full of like ups and downs and all these different standpoints people take on viewing this one world. Like, there's a lot of things happening, and things are happening all the time, but sometimes they don't come into your perspective. Like, for example, there's always going to be people in your hometown who are perhaps going to meet a drug dealer. There's always going to be people in your hometown who are wanting to go to the shop. There's always going to be people in your hometown who are perhaps waiting for a package to be delivered. And at some point in time, that could be you. But when it's not happening to you, it's completely irrelevant. But to someone else, it means a lot. That their reality at that point in time revolves around this little event that's happening in their life. And you don't acknowledge it at all, but it's happening, and it's important to someone. Until it's important to you, and then you acknowledge it, and you experience it, and then you move on with your life after it's happened. And also, the things that were once important to you may not be as important anymore. Like, perhaps you used to get through your day with a set routine, doing certain things, and over time that's slowly like dissipated, and now you can't, like, you're living your days doing something else, keeping your mind occupied in different kinds of ways. Like, maybe there was a one point in time when you like to just sit and play games, or you like to just, I don't know, climb trees and things like that. And then that changes, and maybe you move into a more intellectual way of like spending your time. Like, perhaps you like watching documentaries, or you like reading books, or you like anything which is going to expand your knowledge, and that's how you occupy your mind. It's all about occupying your mind, isn't it? Or perhaps it's not. Perhaps part of it is about silencing your mind and quieting it and learning to enjoy the moment. But even that's something which is occupying your mind. You are designed to occupy your mind with nothingness. Yeah. Because you can never be doing nothing, can you? Because even when you're doing nothing, that nothing is something. Like, you can't be doing nothing. Like, even if you're just sitting in bed and you say you're doing nothing, you're sitting in bed, you're probably having thoughts, even if you're not having thoughts, that's something. Like, nothing can exist. Nothing can't exist, I mean. It's very trippy. Yeah. I guess this is good though, because if I'm going back to the perception thing again, if the world isn't objectively true and it's your mind which governs the way the world appears to you, then you can change that. You have the power to change it, don't you? You're not just going to be waiting for something to happen outside of yourself to make the change. You're able to make the change yourself. That makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna end this video here anyway, and I'm gonna Probably go for a bike ride or something. I don't even know if I'm going to upload this, to be honest. Feels a bit like I've jumped around a bit, but then again, that could just be my perception again. So yeah, bye guys. Thanks for watching.